Enigma of the engraved stone plate. The following story is inspired by true events. Captain James was sitting in the room of a rest house in the remote valley of Babuzor. The fire blazed in the fireplace as he sat in deep thought, smoking an English cigar sent by his wife from London. Captain James was an exceptionally intelligent man with a broad forehead and a thick brown mustache, styled after English officers serving in the British Army. In his early 40s, he was well built, thanks to the football team he had been part of while in college. He had earned a degree in architecture before joining the Gilgit Scouts. In 1935, Captain James was sent on an errand along with Sub-Eder Inayat Khan and soldiers of the Hunza Company, a division of the Gilgit Scouts. His task was to map the area. The captain was startled out of his reverie by a knock at the door. He shouted a loud yes. Sub-Eder Inayat Khan entered the room. A smile spread across the captain's face as he saw his most trustworthy man. The Sub-Eder was silent and serious, rarely smiling. Indeed, the captain had never seen the man smile. He wondered how he would look if he did. Deep down, Captain James wished to make this man laugh. They had arrived in the valley that morning. The captain looked outside the window. It was hardly 3 o'clock in the afternoon, yet the sun had already gone down, leaving the valley in darkness. The Sub-Eder was there to inquire about the plans for the next day. The captain discussed his plans with the Sub-Eder. After being satisfied, the captain took his supper and went to bed. When he woke up in the morning, the sunbeams pierced through the window panes, flooding the room with sunshine. Delighted at the prospect of basking in the sun, he washed himself clean and ordered his breakfast to be laid out in the sun. However, the annoying cold breeze blowing across the valley made him very uncomfortable. He wished he had a sunroom and decided to discuss it with his subordinate. The Sub-Eder might have been very busy and looked annoyed at being disturbed. "I want to build a sunroom here," said the captain. "How is it like?" asked the Sub-Eder, who had never seen one. The captain drew a rough picture of it in his notebook. The Sub-Eder gazed intently at the picture. "What material would you like to build it with?" "It would be built with wood and plenty of glass," replied the captain. The Sub-Eder thought for a moment and replied, "We have a couple of carpenters in our company, we can engagui their services." "That seems like a good idea," replied the captain. "We can bring panes for the windows from the nearby town," suggested the Sub-Eder. "That too is a good idea," replied the captain. "You just develop a drawing of the sunroom, and I will have it built," boasted the Sub-Eder. The captain set himself to work on developing the drawing. He made all 3 views of the room and a pictorial view as well. It was a rectangular hall with slanting roofs and plenty of windows to receive the sun. The captain sent for his subordinate. When the Sub-Eder saw the drawing, a smile spread across his face. He seemed impressed with the drafting skills of his officer. After discussing the details of the construction, the Sub-Eder went away to discuss it with his carpenters. The next morning, the whole company set to work on building the sunroom. It was built in the front yard of the rest house and had a wooden floor. The captain was amazed at the skill of his workers. With hand saws, hand drills, planers, chisels, and hammers, they produced a work of art. The carpenters carved beautiful patterns on the walls. It took them 2 months of constant effort to build the room. When the room was built, the captain ordered a stone plate and had it engraved. Built entirely by Hunza Company, Gilgit Scouts, 1935. In the years that followed, visitors thoroughly enjoyed the warmth of the sun in the sunroom. However, on a windy night, a group of urchins from the nearby village found their way into the room. A careless boy left behind a cigarette butt glowing on the wooden floor. The dry planks soon caught fire, and flames engulfed the entire room. By the time the villagers became aware of the fire, the entire room had turned to ashes. Nothing remained except the stone plate, like a tombstone. A few years later, the wife of one of the guards, while seeking a platform for washing clothes, stumbled upon the stone plate. With the help of her husband, she dug it out. After a few futile efforts, she abandoned the plate and gave it up. In the years that ensued, the plate was denied even a permanent place by the children who carried it around to play. After half a century, the people who had seen the room being built and the plate engraved were dead and gone. The story of the sunroom had been forgotten. The only survivor was the stone plate with its engraving. The plate is a constant source of curiosity for visitors to the valley. Built what and by whom, they wonder.